Hi, I'm Frank McDonough, the questionable botanist or the gigabyte gardener. We're kind of playing around with both of those right now. Welcoming you to the plant information question minute or two, where we look at the most interesting plant information question that I receive here in the office during the day, and we talk about that. Today, my most interesting question was about birches. And let's put this all in perspective. I had a question come in today about saving two or three birches, and from what I was receiving in the email and the description on the phone message, the birch was having a problem with what are called Brown's birch borers. These are beetles that go into birches. They can cause quite a bit of shoot death, branch death on the birches, and eventually they can help lead to the birch's demise. The birch can actually succumb to these. Now, the reason that they're so prevalent here is that birches are native to, depending on the birch, they're native to Europe or Midwest United States and the Northeast and Southeast United States. This makes them really not very well suited, extremely unsuited, I should say, for Southern California, because they need regular irrigation and well-draining, good, sharp-draining soil, or fairly good draining soil for them to do well here. So they're heavy water users, and they're picky about where you put them. Their normal location is near stream beds, and so they're in areas that have sandy soil. And here in California, because we don't have a lot of active flowing water, we don't have a lot of sandy soil. Some areas do have sandy soil. People that have sandy soil are actually quite lucky if it's not too waterlogged. Most of our soil is clay soil. And what that means is that the soil is not very good for the birch. And there's another thing going on too. Birches come from areas that receive quite a bit of winter chill during the winter. This allows them to go completely dormant and allows them to store up food reserves that they use to leaf out in the springtime. This is an incomplete process here in Southern California, and as a result, they age quicker, basically, because they have a longer growing period. So you have them aging quicker. Yeah, they're susceptible to borers to a greater degree because they're under a lot of stress, because they're in an area that really doesn't receive enough water for them. We get about average 14 to 20 inches of rain a year. They come from areas that get 20 inches plus a year. So you can see that they're in a dry area here. Also, our climate is drier. There's less humidity. There's less monsoonal flow, as they call it. That's that flow up from the south where you get nice, moist air. And so they're really out of their element. So what do you do? Well, the best thing to do is not to plant birches, unfortunately. Here's why birches, by the way, became so popular in Southern California. They were cheap. Birches were being grown en masse up in Visalia and other places in California and in the East Coast, bare root for shipping to the East Coast and Midwest markets. Well, they're extremely inexpensive to take from that bunch that were going to the Midwest. You could buy them dirt cheap, bring them down here, and market them as landscape plants, when in reality, they are not very good landscape plants for Southern California. Now, there is a substitution, a really good substitution, and that is Melaleuca quincunarvia. Melaleuca quincunarvia is the Latin name for the tea tree, and it looks a lot like a paper bark birch. It has fine, except for the foliage. Foliage is a little finer, it's more needle-like, but it has that papery bark and that nice relaxed look, and it's about the same size as a birch. It doesn't require as much water, though. That's the thing. It does not require as much water. In fact, if you give it too much water, its roots become invasive, so you don't want to give it too much water. Once every couple of weeks is fine. So that's it for today's plant information, a minute and a half. If you're thinking of planting birches, please think again, plant Melaleucas instead. And until the next time, goodbye and good gardens.